I'm Ashton from EventChain.io for the Crypto Coin Show. Today on Blockchain Interviews, we have David Johnson, the CEO of Latium. Welcome to the show, David.
Hi, Ashton. Thanks for having me.
Anytime. So let's start out a little bit on your background as well as what is Latium?
Well, my background is mostly FX and technology, financial market space. I've been in the financial market space for about a decade. I've been in technology for over 20 years. Started out very young in the 80s on technology. My father was the first Apple dealer in the state of Mississippi, so 87. So that's a bit about my background. You know, I got into hardware at a very young age and started coding as a teenager.
That's great. And then that led you to grow this company. So when did it start and what was the vision?
Well, Latium was really the incarnation of acknowledging that there's some problems in crypto as far as real day use. You know, like everyday people hear about the technology, but it's quite cumbersome and you have to have a technical understanding in order to be able to access it. And so we knew early on that that was a problem that somebody had to solve. You know, it reminds me a lot of just about any evolving industry in technology. I mean, if you look at computers, you know, you had DOS, but you couldn't really get adoption until you had operating systems like Macintosh and Windows, because they made it where anybody could access it. They didn't have to write code. They didn't have to know command lines. They could just use the platform. So that was really the, I guess, the incubator for Latium, was the acknowledgement that there was a big issue in this space as far as adoption goes. And so that was a driving factor. And that was the problem that we wanted to solve, was adoption. So Latium was born out of that, and the way that we've approached it was from a tasking platform perspective. And the reason is because labor is something everyone can do. Everybody goes to work, everybody makes an income, and it's something anybody without any technical knowledge can get on and perform that platform or perform that task. So the goal with Latium was to make that access, that initial point into crypto, very easy and seamless, and giving users an environment they're used to. You don't have to understand wallets, blockchain, hashes in order to operate. You just come in and you click on a task, you apply, you do some work, and all of a sudden you're a crypto user. So that was the main driving factor in why we produced Latium.
Well, I really like the concept and how you guys are really reaching out to, you know, adoption of the mainstream, and that's really what I've been going for as well myself with EventChain. You know, something we have to have applications that have real world application, or else nobody's gonna, you know, adopt it.
That's right. That's right. You can make a great product, but if people can't use it, it's kind of worthless. That's
great. So you guys have like a crowdsourcing gig, you know, essentially, is it limited to any type of work, or what's the scope of Latium?
No, the scope is quite general as far as tasks. Right now, the platform is live in a beta format, and people are posting everything from, you know, follow me on Twitter to use my referral ID to watch my videos. You know, it's going to have a general task threshold as far as what you can use it for. What makes it kind of unique is the fact that it's not just digital; it's also physical. The beta is digital. The production release will be physical too, and we'll have GPS mapping. So our goal is to take tasks and allow people to earn crypto in the physical world too. So it won't be just limited to digital tasks like likes and watching videos and things like that, or design a logo, but it could be cutting your yard. It could be showing up for a restaurant opening. We want to take anything that people do to produce income and give them the opportunity to do so through crypto.
That's awesome. So let's talk a little bit about marketing and timing. Do you think with Latium, you know, the adoption of cryptocurrencies in the mainstream world is actually still fairly new to most people? Do you think that the timing is right for Latium to start growing their business, and will it be an expansive growth, or do you think that the market maybe in the future years the growth will be more expensive?
Well, I think we're at the starting point for growth in crypto. I mean, myself, I've been in crypto since about 2013. And, you know, we've kind of been watching the timing for mainstream adoption, because it's something that we've acknowledged for a long time. But the market had to be ready. People had to be ready. And I think that the PR that's come out over the last 12 months around crypto, it's become a household name. I would argue still a lot of people don't know what exactly it is or how to use it or how to get access to it. But I think that the exposure is there. So people are aware of crypto. And the idea of blending that with the gig economy is really two explosive industries together. The gig economy is growing exponentially, and with good reason. Everybody wants to make additional income, and the biggest problem was access. So, there's predictions out there that the gig economy will outgrow the real world economy within the next decade. No one knows for a fact that that's true or not, but one thing is that we have history to look at is the expansive growth year over year, and that's true for both crypto and the gig economy. So naturally putting them together, I think the timing is now.
That's great to hear. So if the timing is now, then maybe a little bit of background on when you guys started Latium and how the software development has been going so far.
Sure. The concept for the actual Latium platform, I guess, started around 18 months ago. We have a proof of concept. The idea of crypto adoption has been at the heart probably since 2013 for me. But the actual project itself was about 18 months ago. We released an alpha product at the end of December 2017. We've released a beta product at the end of April, and we've already released multiple patches to that beta product. So as far as where we are in development, we're pretty far along. I mean, the platform is very usable, and compared to most crypto projects, I would say that we're in the top 1% as far as actually delivering a product. So people can go on and they can sign up and start tasking right now. The functionality is going to, we're continuing to add additional functionality, but there's core functionality that's there. The ability to be able to create a task, to perform a task, to be able to transfer to other users. We have an internal exchange. We have the ability to chat with other users. So, I mean, there's a lot of development that's already released to the public. But we have a lot of other cool features that are coming very soon as well. Like we have a mobile app for Android that will be released by the end of July. We've been in the works on that for the last 6 months. We also have a really cool function called Proof of Human, which creates a digital ID for a digital user. So it's basically like a fingerprint to prove this person's real. It's not a problem a lot of people think about, but anyone who's in the technology space working on digital technologies, they know there's a truth in the fact that we can't validate that a new user is an individual person. And when you're talking about tasking and doing things financially based, this is a big problem. And I have yet to see anybody develop something that actually solves that. We believe we have, and it'll be released July 6th. So that's pretty exciting.
That's very exciting. And I completely agree with you, David, on the fact that identities are going to be a necessary thing moving forward, especially if you're doing gigs, working with people, doing loans, anything, you're going to want to know who's on the other side of the agreement, or else, how can you trust that person, right?
Right.
Yeah, and it's very interesting to see that you guys have a chat, lots of functionality in the application already. So actually, that's very impressive. If you guys already have gigs running right now, is it a global initiative, or where are we seeing the gigs? Where are people putting up jobs? Is it in North America or all around?
The physical side of it has not come online. The physical side of it comes online with production release. So that will be within the next 30 to 60 days. Right now, it's strictly digital. So it doesn't really matter where someone's located. Our users are all around the world. We have users in over 30 countries currently. User registrations are growing daily. And quite honestly, we're just now starting to get the word out. We've really focused on the development and making a real product versus just hyping the idea of a product. We see this, I'm an old school business guy. I've been running digital companies for over the last decade. And I know that at some point, hype fades. And the question is, what's real, right? So we want to present a real working product. People don't have to trust that we're going to build something. They can see it.
Yeah. And I completely agree with you. The development is key. And, if you don't have the development, then you really have nothing.
I agree.
Yeah. So can you explain a little bit about the business model with Latium itself? Are you connecting people together and, providing that value for others with a surcharge? Or what's the revenue model of Latium?
Well, there's multiple revenue models coming in the future. Basically, we're a service for a fee platform. Currently, those services revolve around tasking. In the future, there will be additional services added. Some of those are slated actually within the next 30 to 60 days. But the way the system works currently, if you post a task, right, there is a minor fee when those two parties meet and complete a task. That's how Latium generates revenue. We also have a pretty unique tiering structure, which ultimately allows you to become feeless if you're a good enough actor, right? So if you are participating in the economy and you're doing a good job, eventually your fees go away. As you come in new into the system, you're going to be charged on our maximum level of our fee structure, and that tiers out to eventually being feeless.
That's great. So it's sort of like a incentive gamification. You know, as you build your profile up, you have more credibility. You don't have to get charged as much by the company, and you can do better deals.
Exactly.
That's great to hear. So can people also pay with fiat currencies as well as cryptocurrency for the gigs?
Fiat currency integration is something that we're working on, and we anticipate it being implementing that before Q3 is out of this year. So we're actively working on it. Currently, we support Bitcoin, Ethereum. Next week, we'll be going live with OMG. We just added ERC20 support, so we'll be adding additional tokens as we go. And we've done that in such a way where it's moving forward, it's just an administrative task for us. So it's not a development thing. So we'll be able to add ERC20 tokens very rapidly. But fiat, I would imagine that we'll have it done within the next 3 months. And I think the implementation there is going to be, it's going to exceed people's expectations.
Mm-hmm. That's great to hear. And I think that's a major part of adoption as well, considering you know, what you want to bring cryptocurrency to the mainstream adoption from people who aren't already familiar with Bitcoin and Ethereum and these altcoins, that maybe their first gig, they can do it in fiat. And, you know, to only be able to accept crypto, sometimes it's a barrier to entry. So sure. I think that's a really smart idea to also implement that.
Yeah, and the only reason that it hasn't been implemented earlier is because everything else you can kind of implement without a third party. And we both know that, you know, when you deal with crypto and the established banking industries, it's difficult to work with partners. So that's something that we're working through solving, and as soon as it's solved, fiat will be available.
Awesome. So can we talk a little bit about the blockchain integration on Latium? Is sure. there data information stored from these gigs on the blockchain, or and are you integrating a Latium token into the process as well?
Sure, that's a good question. There is a Latium token. It's called LatX, and currently all tasks are priced in LatX and paid in LatX. When you deposit Bitcoin or Ethereum, you can exchange for LatX on the app, so it's all a one-stop shop solution. But as far as the blockchain, we've actually kind of taken a different approach. And I've got some really good reasons why we've taken a different approach. Latium is currently a hybrid. So meaning that we're using the blockchain where the blockchain excels, right? The blockchain currently excels in financial transactions, dealing with tokens, dealing with Bitcoin. These things make sense. There are some major issues with latency, and it's something that people really don't talk about in the space, and I'm not quite sure why. But if you're trying to develop an enterprise app on blockchain, currently there's not any implementation that can support that at a level of enterprise application. So if you wanted to bring something on that needed, say, to do 1 million transactions a second, there's not a blockchain in the world that's developed today that can handle that, right? So what we have is a mixture of decentralized servers and blockchain technology. Ultimately, our goal is to go full-blown blockchain over time. But we want to use the blockchain wisely because the blockchain is a ledger. It should not do everything. It can't do everything efficiently. If you notice when you load a D app, per se, it will take 15, 20, maybe 30 seconds to load. Okay, that is an infrastructure issue that current blockchain technology cannot solve. So you have two options. You either use the blockchain as it was designed to, which is for transparency and for security and financial transactions, or you use it for everything and you get a worse user experience.
Yeah, that's one of the issues we're coming to right now, right? And especially the scalability of transactions. We're working towards, you know, Ethereum. Hopefully it has some protocol upgrades, but also there are many other competitive blockchains which, you know, may be able to do tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of transactions per second moving forward. And I think that the amount of blockchains that will be able to handle that will also increase as the adoption increases within the next 2 to 3 years.
I agree, and that's pretty much what we're looking for, is something that can actually support an enterprise application. We don't want to build an enterprise application that ultimately will fail because of its infrastructure. So, you know, we understand that that's going to take time. It's not going to be, it's not something someone's going to solve in a month or two. You know, Blockchain is still very young, and most of the implementations I would consider a rough beta. And so, when you talk about enterprise application, you really want something that's production tested.
Definitely. So it sounds like you guys have a lot of things going on with Latium, which is super great to hear. And hopefully you have a large enough team to also develop all of these in a timely manner. But it sounds like you guys have hit all of your roadmap development timeline marks, right on target. So that's great to hear. So can we talk a little bit? I know we talked about all the things coming up, but can we just reiterate a little bit on what's coming up in the next 6 months for Latium in terms of the software development and the token sale?
Sure. Well, the token sale was completed earlier this year. So we sold through our token sale. That happened in January. As far as the future and future feature sets, like I said, Proof of Human is coming, July 6th. We have additional currency integrations. We have fiat. We have an Android app that will be released in July. iOS app will be following that. It's just lagging a little bit behind. We have a really cool feature I'm excited about that will also be released in July that is a reward system. So anyone holding LATX will get a reward, and they can lock that up for a period of time within the system, and they're going to get a reward. If they put 100 LATX in, they get 110 LATX back. So it's a holder reward system, and it's all internal within the Latium network. So it gives LATX a store value. Everyone talks about Bitcoin, but it's only if the price moves up. This gives you, if you believe in what we're doing, and you believe in the team's ability to deliver what we said we will, then you're getting a reward on top of that. So,
wow, that sounds really promising, and I'm looking forward to those applications on the mobile app stores as well. Is there room for extra people to join into the software development of Latium, or are you looking for more people to just join the community? And what's the best way to reach out to the community and learn more?
Well, both. We're looking for users. I mean, like I said, we're just now starting to market because we're getting close to a production release. But as far as development goes, you can come on the site right now, and we have the ability to put in an application to work for Latium. Of course, we're a growing company, and we're looking for talented people. The website's latium.org. If you go there, you can check out the platform and see if it's something you want to participate in, whether being a user or potential developer.
That's great to hear. Thank you so much, David Johnson, CEO of Latium. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. I'm really excited to see these application developments moving forward in the future. I'll leave all your community links to your Telegram, your website, down in the description below for the viewers. And I think we should follow up with another interview, when you have developed these applications and they're out to the public to see how the community has grown and what's coming in the next steps for Latium.
Sounds great, Ashton. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, David.